Recording is on.
All right. Thank you so much, Kareem, for being here. I still don't know how to pronounce your last name, so you can help me with that. Our friend Kareem was speaking to us for the second time. And we're really grateful that you're here sharing your new initiative to help us and help Palestinians account for basically all the suffering that they are going through and document that in a more systematic manner. So over to you, please.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity to share on this project. And we know each other since quite a time. My name's Kareem Shahadi Rifai, and I'm American, German, Arabic background living in Germany. As a very outgoing person through my life, I just meet people. I like to meet people. So along that path, I get to meet a lot of Palestinians because I just approach strangers in numbers when I have fun and or when I have the time. So how did this study come about? It came about because within the Palestinians that I personally know, I realized, I'd ask them like how many, like, and they come from Palestinians coming from Gaza. What I would do is like you had the official numbers, and so I would call them up and ask them, not really asking them how they're doing because like how can you ask that question, but just showing them that I'm there, and in our conversation it would come out that like just from one day to the next, another family member died, was killed, and another family member was killed, and then so with one Palestinian, the last update last year was that, and that's like April last year, it's like 48 family members were killed, relatives, cousins, aunts, uncles. The other Palestinian I know, and his cousin was the cook of the cook which was in the media. But like I when I met him, like a day later, his brother was killed, and then the other brother was killed. So after meeting, like, and talking with Palestinians from Gaza, and after I came about, like, it just seemed like a very high amount of relatives were killed, and coming from a statistical background, IT background, even though I'm a lawyer, but I switched into this field. So statistics is really important in the field that we're in. I started wondering, like, how does this make sense if so many family members have been killed? How does this statistic, and just within like that small amount of people that I know, how does this fit into the official statistical numbers? So on basis of that, came to the idea of making an MSc study. So an MSc study means pretty much you can make it on two frameworks. One framework, you could say, like, how many relatives do I have? Like, let's say I have 100 relatives, and then from these 100 relatives, how many were killed? So if I come to a number of 5 with myself, and then we'd say Salman, and then the next person, and Karina, and Gardi, and Shannon. And if we were to go to a certain amount, like, you can always have outliers, meaning to say there's like an exception to the rule. But in statistics, the more people you ask, like from the more people you get your numbers, the more you'll be closer to the actual death count, the actual truth. So this MSc method, so I was looking around which method is used in similar situations like we have today in Gaza, whereby, there's a total collapse of infrastructure. There's a lack of overview who's lost and who's dead, or who's under the rubble, or, even families which are gone, so there's nobody to report that somebody's dead, right? Because if you take the method that the Gaza Health Ministry applies, which is to count those people who have been reported to a hospital, And obviously, when there's less hospitals, there's less reporting. And secondly, who's going to be able to report to a hospital? Like how many people are reporting? And then you have to report it with your with certain kind of evidence and like that. So it's a more complicated method. So that's where actually, so this MSC method is a way to interview as many people as possible from Gaza and to get their feedback on how many family members have died and how big is the circle of family members, and secondly, how many people they know have died, and how big is their circle of people that they know. So let's say if I were to assume that I know about 1,000 people, and from these 1,000 people, I would calculate somewhere around 100 people died, then that's 10%. So that's pretty much like the idea of the MSC method. Um, and so uh, that's and so what I created was three different kinds of interviews. One was in German in order to talk to Gazans who I know from Germany, and one is in English to talk to Gazans like outside, somehow who I can connect to, and the third one is in Arabic for people in Gaza itself. So the big challenge is like, how do you reach the people to participate in the interview? And then I created one which has an added aspect, which has a GPS location along with it. Just in order, if going to get challenged, I could argue, all right, this is from someone in Gaza himself, in Arabic, and that's brought me like, and I don't have such a big amount of people who I've been able to reach, and the biggest challenge that I'm facing is that in Gaza itself, from my feedback from the Gazans that I know, is that they are fighting for survival, and they they don't really see um, the benefit of taking the time to do the interview. So that they're just it's overwhelming for them, also traumatic for them to count like how many people have died, which is a very traumatic thing to spend your time. They actually, there's not most of the Gazans in Gaza, they haven't had the time to mourn the loss of their relatives and family members, because like that's my information from because of the um, the survival method that they in at the moment, and the trouble from any moment they could be dying. So that's the like, you don't know when which drone is going to pip you off, or which if you're going to be hit by a rocket. So you don't know when is your last moment, and um, you have basically just from day to day to find a way um, how to help your family. Typically, a lot of Gazans, from my feedback, have some kind of illness. So it could be pain in the shoulder, or some kind of inflammation in the eye, or some kind of diabetes issue which hasn't been treated, or because of this terrible conditions that they are in. Those people who are already sick previously, or some kind of medical condition like diabetes or rheuma or something like that, um, they're untreated. So this condition um, is basically deteriorating potentially, and those people who were healthy, their health condition is deteriorating. Firstly, because their nutrition is really bad. So living off of canned food for all this time is a very bad nutrition level. So and that's where my feedback is, that, like, for example, one I know, she's like, she used to be very obsessed with health and every day taking her vitamin shakes and etc. And so currently she's been walking around since more than a year with a infected shoulder, um, based upon dislodged shoulder because of having to move back and forth with carrying all the luggage and bags and etc. And she's not a priority patient for the doctors which are available. So she has this condition, and the body not getting vitamins and not getting the good nutrition it needs to fix itself. And so it's a situation which like she difficulty sleeping, etc. And then with the others, just a little bit background. I started an initiative with someone in Gaza, Muhammad, and that was more than a year ago. It was an IT cafe, basically to provide electricity and internet so that the IT professionals in Gaza could make money in order to provide for their families. So basically work as freelancers or get jobs internationally. And so that was a little bit of like how I'm trying to access people who can help and participate in this interview. But it's a struggle because the motivation is, I would say, maybe it's a bit long, the interview, but I shared with you in the text. You can look at the different interview links, and you could get a feedback on it from the results that I got. And is there any questions just until now?
I have a bunch of questions, but maybe I can ask them later because you might cover them in the rest
Okay.
of your presentation.
Yep.
Nobody else has their hands up yet, so do you prefer questions in the middle or at the end?
Well, I'll share with you.
Okay, somebody does have a question. M.
Okay.
Hi, this is Mona. I don't have a question. I just wanted to say that it's so great that you've taken this initiative on. Like, I think that it's just listening to this has just been really great to hear. I know how difficult it is, obviously. I just want to say, like, very exciting that you are approaching this, and I'm just really proud to hear what you're up to.
Thank you. I think it's necessary because I think there's even I don't believe in the Hamas health ministry numbers, and I just find it statistically improbable that they are accurate, and that's why I do challenge anyone to reach out to Gazans they know and to collect the data. And because once we have that data, we can argue it scientifically, because if we're able to reach out and just to have, like, this MSc study is an internationally recognized form or method, you would say method of studying the amount of, you could say, deaths or injuries in a war situation where you're not able to do a head count like you would. Like, nobody's internationally able to go into Gaza and study how many people are actually still alive in Gaza. They don't let journalists inside. They won't let international agencies go into Gaza and assess. Now, we do know, like, it very likely, I'm sure that Israel knows it, because with their first of all, they will know it over the amount of mobile phones which are running, right? Then they'll know it about because they have drones basically, and it's all being observed the whole time. So you can, like, with AI and with statistics, you could calculate how many people are still in Gaza just from the heads. That's very potent. Like, you could get pretty accurate numbers. So I'm pretty sure that Israel knows that, and I'm also pretty sure that the US will know that, simply because of access to information which they have. And there's methods you can alternatively use, like to assess how many people are still alive. I'm pretty sure you could assume it based upon. I would just have an assessment. There's some kind of algorithm you could even assess based upon the heat, which is which the bodies will exert at night, for example, in a certain temperature. So if you were to assess like the heat map above Gaza, you could assess how many bodies does it need to create that heat map, for example, right? So I mean, there's a lot of methods to somehow come up with a number. Trump himself, slipped the number of 1.5, 1.7, and like that. He was slipping some numbers slipped there. We had was it the Lancashire, or what it was the institute called? Forget the name at the moment.
Lancet, yeah.
Lancet, exactly. Lancet Institute came up with the number of 200,000 around. But so with this MSE approach, it's a different approach than the Lancet approach, where they are saying, well, if you have 50,000 people, typically, more people are going to die. It's about a range of 4 to 5 because of based upon injuries and health and etc. So they calculate that number. And with this MSE approach, we can, if we're able to reach, let's say, 1,000 Gazans or 5,000 or 10,000 were to participate in this number, even 500, you have a very good critical mass based upon which you can argue an average death number. So you're going to always have, in any statistics, you're going to have an outlier, so an exception to the rule. So let's say, for example, that the people I asked with 98, 48 plus, and deaths in their family, they're just exceptions to the rule, because just for some reason, Kareem only knows the people who has like mega many family members that have been killed. So, but if we were to ask, let's say 500 people and they participated into it, and then 1,000, and on average, we are able to, we get the same amount, get the same average, then you're going to be able to more and more argue against this exception to the rule potential criticism. And that's where my goal is to reach as many possible, get as many Gazans to participate in this study, because with that I can argue it, or we can, I don't even care about myself, right? So we can argue a substantiated study to argue amount of death toll. I shared with you the links to the questionnaires, which quite long, but I shared with them in the comments where you can see them. And can you all see the questionnaires?
Yeah, I can see the one in English.
Yeah. I mean, would you like me to share it on the screen, or would you like to look at it yourself, and then I'll go through some results?
If you can share it on your screen, I think that would be great. Then it will become part of the recording as well.
Okay. All right. Then let me see how. Where do I go on the share screen?
There's a chance it might ask you to restart your browser. So
okay.
And then you might have to log back in, but you can just do that.
Okay.
So
can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So wait a second. Wait a second. So are you seeing now how many people really died in Gaza?
Yes.
Okay. So in this questionnaire, and all the questionnaires, they're the same. They're just translations from English to Arabic and to German. So I start with, like, what's your relationship with Gaza, to know where, in which respect is this a reliable information, and is it firsthand or secondhand information? So that's irrelevant information to know if it's like hearsay or is it something personally experienced. And then from which region in Gaza the person initially is. So based upon that, one can you analyze like regional deaths or regional information. It gives access to some data analytics questions that can later on be used. And then, like, do you have, like, if someone's not in Gaza, right? So this is a relevant question about currently having contact with people. Now it comes really, this is the relevant part for the MSc. So we need to know, like, how many people is in the social network of a person. So like I would have to assess, like, how many people do I know within my social network in the city that I know, that I live in, which is kind of difficult to assess because it's a vague number. So so the next one is like, how many close families members do I have? Like that's much more easy, much easier for me to assess, like my family circle. And then also the next one goes about friends. Friends is something that typically, you know, you have a good overview on the friends that you have. So from these three questions, you can actually create a circle, like three different kinds of circles. One is a social network circle. The next one is a family circle, and the third one is a friend circle. And so once we are able to know, like, which percentage of each one of them has died, then it gives us like three individual statistics of one person, which is helpful because that can like get us closer to getting an idea about what's the average percentage of people that were killed. And so here is like how many are still in Gaza, like that, because that's relevant. So if somebody's not living in Gaza anymore, it's a relevant aspect. And then how many people, how many were still in Gaza immediately before the war? So that's the point, which gives me like a starting point as of which, like, I know like what's the initial number. And then the next one, like how many are left over, like how many friends were there and how many are left over. And so this is that aspect. And then here is like the direct experience of loss. And then now comes the point where we know, get to find out how many people have died. So how many do I know directly have died, and how many do I know via hearsay? So that means over a friend who told me that, I don't know, Muhammad or Ahmad like that was killed. And then the next point is to know like how many are injured, because that's also an important information, not just to know the people who have been killed, but those who are also who have been injured. And this one gives you the circle on the friends, and this one here also gives you a circle on the injured friends and acquaintances. And then this one is like an independent one, like that you can like buy your information from other people to know how many they have lost. Kind of gives you a circle on that. It's kind of difficult because obviously, like, I might have talked to 100 people and everybody gives me a different range of people that he's lost in his family or relatives, but I can't like make the whole survey like 15 pages long and be like very accurate, to get that information very accurate. But here's the question that I wanted to know, and this is a very important question, is for me. Do you know anyone in Gaza that has not lost any family members or relatives in this war? Why is that important? Now, if I'm able to say that nobody has lost, nobody is without loss, then the official number is 55,000 or 50, let's say 60,000, right? At the moment. So the official number is 1,000, and the population count of Gaza before the war ranges between 2.2 million and 2.375 million, depending on whatever source you're using. So that's a percentage rate, which is Let me calculate that exactly. Sorry about that.
Take your time.
What is that percentage? So that would be a percentage of like 2%, 2.7%. So what is the likelihood that none of the people has lost? There's nobody that I know who who has everybody still alive. So I need to have a correlating amount of people that haven't lost any family members in order for it to fit to the death toll of Gaza, right? So it would have to be quite pretty much a large amount of people would have to say, I know someone who hasn't lost any family members, right? But if everybody says, everyone I know has lost family members, that will also tell me that this official number is not accurate. It's not reliable. You get me? Like you get the mathematical or statistical aspect around that topic.
That makes a lot of sense.
So, so this is where this is the same thing. Oops, I think I doubled it up right now. So now, because a lot of people are not able to count exactly how many people have died, which is like, how are you going to count through? It's kind of very difficult. I also put in this question where you kind of like, what's your perceived amount of people who have been killed? Like, is it 5%, 15%? So it's kind of like more like a not counted, but emotionally felt. And then also I wanted to find out, like, do they trust the official numbers? And if not, which number death toll do you think is more realistic? So that's more like, let me know what you think, how many people have been killed in Gaza. And then that they give me also, why do they think it like that, right? Now, the last one is just control questions, like, are you honest, and etc. And then you're not a computer, like, please select number 11 from the list, right? That they choose the right number, just as test questions to make sure. And now some personal data, and how old are you, and blah, blah, professional background, male, female, etc. That's the same in Arabic and the same in German. And the one which I have with the location, it's shorter because I found that this questionnaire is too long for a lot of people. So I made a shorter one and share with you some of the results. All right, let's put up. Wait a second. Oh, let me go into the German one. Yeah. I'll go into the German one. Okay, can you see this one now with the results?
Yes.
Oh, that's I gotta share with you a different one then. This one. Oops. So this is the German one where I got more answers. Like, if you can help me to get these questionnaires out to people from Gaza, anyone contacts, and that we can get more people to answer to them, that would be like just give an incredible amount of strength and support to the numbers. And yeah, so just about the numbers here, this is German. Let me see if I can do a Google Translate thing. Did I have it here? Or maybe I'll explain it to you. So just in here, I'll give you the kind of like the background. I lived there. My family's from Gaza. I have strong contacts to Gaza. I have regular contact telling me which part of Gaza they're from. And then how many close family members do you have living there? And then tells me, gives me the numbers, and then how many people do you know in Gaza? So here are the numbers approximately, and then tells me here how many have died, like more than 10, 3, etc., like 20. How many of your close contacts are injured, 40 to 50, right? So if you would go to initial here, the number, we have plus 200, and here, a second. Here's the estimate on how many have been killed, but let me see. This is the amount they know, right? And here is, wie viele Menschen sie haben schätzt, the amount of people they know, wie viele ihre engen, how many of the close family members have been killed. Here's the number have been killed is 0855. And so we go over here to look how many close family members you have. And here, wie viele enge Familien leben oder lebten im Kriegsbeginn in Arbeit, wie viele? Okay, so here you go to the close number. You got 30, 80, 60 to 70. And then come over here, you get this number, 5, 8. So coming around, somewhere around 10, 10%. Let's say this one with the 30, he's got 30 to divide by 5. That would be around 25%, I guess, right? If he has 30 family members and 8 have been killed, so that's about 25%. This one has 80 family members and he's got 5 killed, so that's around 80 divided by 5, right? You get approximately the percentage. And here this one has also the 5, so you get different numbers. So what I did is I put all the ones from German, and then from Arabic is here in Arabic, and then from English also, which is only one, right? Interesting enough, empty, right? So the Arabic ones are the ones from people who are in Gaza, right? The English ones are the ones from people who have relatives in Gaza. So I used to live there, but I'm not living there now, right? My family's there.
We're still only seeing the German version.
Oh, sorry. Good. Yeah. Okay. So here's I'll share it now, the Arabic one. Let me just take this for a moment. Just tell me whether I need another 15, 20 minutes max. Yeah.
So I have a bunch of questions for you whenever you're ready.
So, and here's the Arabic one, and with the results that they come. So anyway, the final result, at the moment, I'm at a range, and I don't have such a big number, and that's why I'm not making it really official. But I do, I have like an estimate somewhere around 400,000, 200 to 400,000 deaths, and up to 650,000 injured in Gaza, which is approximately could be up to 18% of Gazans have been killed, and 28% with a long-term injury. Yeah, so that's just something I would really like to get a big volume to have a very strong strong scientific study on it. So that's from my side.
Great, thank you so much, Kareem. So I have lots of questions myself, but I want to give everybody the opportunity to ask questions. Okay, Ishtiaq, please, and then I'll go after Ishtiaq.
Hey Kareem, thank you so much for everything you're doing. I have a quick question. I'm sorry I can't be on camera. It's like midnight here. Anyways, the question I have to ask is, I saw the numbers, and obviously you're right. You need a lot more people to survey. What's your what's the ideal number you're looking at? Because that will help us figure out exactly how to get the word out as well.
Okay. Very good question. I don't remember. I give you. Wait a second. I think I have that answered in my sheet. Where did I put it?
Yeah, there is a way to figure out, the sample size required for a 2.2 million, 2.3 million population for it to be accurate, statistically valid. So
yeah, exactly. I do have a sheet with all my answers to the questions. So in order to get something which is for a certain kind of credibility, should have like at least 100 in per list, right? So if I'm able to get 100 in Arabic and 100 in German and 100 in English, I'm able to create 3 different kinds of backgrounds, right? So basically each one is checking the other one, and it would be it would give me a good credibility. If I'm able to get 500 to 1,000 entries just in Arabic, that would give a very strong credibility to it. Yeah. So
Got it. Thank you.
yeah.
thank you. So as the number of responses increases, so does your accuracy. So does your confidence interval, confidence rate of the stats that you're providing. Are you somehow like automating the analysis of the responses as you're getting them so that the results become more accurate as you get more responses?
I haven't created like a process which will, with every new response, kind of like as a like an automation that with every new response will update the analysis, which is a good idea, great idea actually, and basically make a page, maybe put it on anyone else's page, just put the the analysis like in graph and etc., that information, and then every time a new survey is answered, it gets updated. I actually love that idea. Very possible, it's very doable. Yeah. So yeah, I love it. Great idea. Thank you.
And then just playing devil's advocate, let's say one person tells you that out of 100 people they know, 10 were murdered, and another person tells you that out of 100 people then they know 10 were murdered. But let's say there was a overlap between the two, like maybe these two people are like second or third cousins, and
Yeah.
so then there's an overlap of, let's say, 5 people. Then in reality 15 out of 200, not 20 out of 200, were murdered because there's an overlap of 5 people that they both know, hypothetically.
Yeah.
how does the MSE method deal with those intricacies, those nuances?
Yeah. A very, very great question. So like if I that's the point. Like if it's called, it would be like an outlier, right? So you have two ones which are actually close together, but they look like as if they're far apart. So you cannot um, recognize that they're actually um, both the same, right? So is two people answering the same, like as if me and my brother, right? If me and my brother answer the questionnaire, right, we get both the same results, but you would think it's double as many people were asked. So that is actually only solved over more people answering the questionnaire in order to be able um, to get away from potential kind of um, um, things that would happen like in any study where which could give you unreliable results.
So, but like, let's say, in the example that I gave, it's like two second or third cousins that are
Yeah.
doing this, right? And then, so there's truth in their numbers.
Right.
Their numbers are accurate. Their numbers do need to be accounted, but then there is still overlap because they're second or third cousins. So they're counting, the 5 people with overlap between them.
Right.
So the real number is like 15 out of 200, but you might count it as 20 out of 200. Where both are reporting 10 per 100 that have been murdered.
Well, no, it wouldn't actually be like that. So let me just take, for example, the following case. My brother and myself participate in the questionnaire. We both have identical results as to how many family members have been killed, right?
Right.
Which would be, I don't know, whatever. Let's say 10%. Okay.
Yeah.
So me saying 10% and him saying 10% of the same amount of family members will still return into the MSE 10%, right? It won't increase to 20%. It will still stay 10%. So that's the only point is that, if let's say I've got 100 brothers, right? Just for a chance, right? And so from these 100 brothers, 90 would all say 10 of our 10 brothers were killed, right?
Right.
So we would have an average of 10%, but that wouldn't be representative for Gaza. You get me?
Right.
Even
Right.
though 90 people answered. So in that respect, the 90 people returning their results is as if one person, with who's replicated is giving a result. So that's why, like the study, the more families, the more people who are asked, you're able to get the percentage of each individual, which ideally is from different circles, like circles of connections, to give what is the percentage in each of these small circles of connections, because there's like, my family circle, your family circle, his family circle, all these family circles. And if you're able to get a percentage within each family circle, that gives you a really good idea of the total death in Gaza.
Right. And then, in these responses, whether there's 10 of these responses or 100 of these responses, you're not measuring the count of the people that have been murdered, rather the proportion. And because you're measuring proportions, the rough proportions across 100 people, across 1,000 people, will be roughly close to the same. And so then, as the number of responses increases, your accuracy further increases. So that makes sense.
Exactly. Yep, that's it. And then once you have a proportion, then you can just say, all right, what's the pre-Gaza population count time that proportion, and that would be the likely death toll in Gaza.
Thank you. Shannon, please.
Thank you. First of all, thanks so much for this initiative. It's really cool and inspiring that you're kind of moving forward with this. And I also just want to give you a lot of kudos for looking into injury and not just death, because I think that tells a really important part of the story as well. I don't know, are you open to suggestions?
Absolutely, 100%. Anything that makes it better.
Yeah,
Just
great.
bring it on.
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk more about this offline, but one suggestion I have because I'm thinking about what questions you might get around the validity of the survey and how to sort of combat those from the beginning. I think one thing you could think about doing if you are going to be getting a statistically significant number of people responding is to reduce the questionnaire to just calculate the percentage of family members. I do worry that, like, when you ask someone, you know, how many people in general have been killed that you probably know that exact number, but the denominator of how many people in general do you know in Gaza, people are just guessing, you know, I mean, because you know, people aren't going to be counting up every single person that they know in Gaza. So I do think that proportion in particular could end up being difficult in terms of getting an accurate number. But if you stick with the family, people are generally more able to count their number of family members. So that's just that's just one thought I had around, you know, getting the information, but keeping the survey as short as possible.
Can I ask you? I'm sending you my WhatsApp number, and also connect with me on LinkedIn, because
Yes.
your suggestion is very, very valuable. And anybody in this group also, because one thing I'm facing is that my questionnaire is too long, and people, it's hard for them to answer. So these suggestions you're making are very, very important.
Yeah, sure. I have a public health background, so we do a lot of surveying. So yeah, I'll definitely connect with you on LinkedIn and happy to give.
Yeah, I'd love, like, if you have it, because this is not my background. Okay, so with your, if you know how to make a better or if you put like the structure together, I'd love to. I just send it out to the people who I know, and we can put it over your link. I don't care, right? But to make this survey a success, that's just saying, like, I'd really, really appreciate, and I'd love to have that contribution.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Shannon. That's really awesome. And my next question was along the same lines as what Shannon has asked, but, like, basically, who else are you working on this with, on this initiative with, and can we get someone to peer review this? So, because as soon as the first time you publish any results, even if you get like 5,000 responses, people are going to attack you. People are going to attack you, the data, the survey. And so eventually, like, the more open it is, the better for your credibility,
100%.
for the service credibility, right? And then the more people that can peer review this, people like Shannon and others who have the right background to review the data, review the methodology, the better. My estimate is that out of our 300 members, about 50 are academics, and including some who like do statistics for a living, a handful of them. So maybe we can get their attention after I send out the notes, and see if we can get their help as well.
Just as the purpose of the survey is just to get it rolling in that direction. I'd love to be a part of a team or contribute to a team of, like, specialists, to make a credible MSE survey to participate in sending it out. So just to make it a successful project. It doesn't matter how it goes. I really, anything that's going to be successful, I'll be part in. I'll contribute towards. Doesn't have to go under my name even. I don't care.
Yeah, and like a lot of these projects, one big key thing that they're missing is somebody leading the project. And so you have already started this which is amazing. And so I would encourage you to keep going.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
I have one more question, unless somebody else has a question first. Okay. So one obvious thing you have asked for is to share the survey with as many people as possible.
But maybe before we share it, Shannon, and maybe with the academics, we do prepare a really a successful survey, right, from the experience, and then from there share it again and just start off from new. I don't care, right? But it sounds like it's in the end, if we can get, let's say, 10 or 15% from the people that I contact, and then within the network that I contacted to answer, we'll have quite a volume of Gazans answering and participating.
Great. What kind of support do you need? What kind of support do you need? Maybe you need IT support. Maybe you need marketing support. Maybe you need graphics design support. Maybe there's people on the call who can help with each of those areas. So I'm just using those as an example.
Yeah.
What kind of support do you need?
For now, actually, I think the idea which Shannon suggested, make it shorter and make it, and what you suggested, bring together some academics and give it a lot of credibility, like from a scientific background. I think that would be a great step. And then from there, I think marketing would be very good to motivate and show the people how valuable it is to participate in, because I think a lot of Gazans are hopeless at the moment, or they just don't think anything that people abroad are doing is going to change anything. And like to give them hope, and then to spread the word among Gazans to get them to participate in it. And I think that would be like the 3 steps from my understanding at the moment.
Our friends at Bystanders Know More may be a good group to contact. So they did a significant survey as well as to, this was like 14, 15 months ago now, as to why people are silent. And then they built their platform, their website around that, educating the bystanders. They worked with a few academics as well to analyze the survey results. I think they ended up getting through 250 or 300, somewhere in that range, number of responses to their survey. So have I connected you with Dr. Thamotheram before? Dr.
Yeah,
Raj?
yeah, we've been in contact.
Okay.
He was supposed to give me some to-dos.
Okay, all right. So, and we can chat about that in more detail afterwards as well. All right, cool. All right, so we are coming to the closing of the meeting. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay. Kareem, do you have any last thoughts to add before we end the call?
Please contact me, connect me on LinkedIn, contribute your ideas, and let's make a good, if anything that helps, I'd really appreciate it. And thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you. The discussion's always great. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.